A senior Taliban official has told Sky News that the issue of girls' education in Afghanistan should not be used against the regime. Today marks 1 year since the Taliban marched into Kabul and reclaimed power. But Afghanistan is facing an economic and humanitarian catastrophe, with foreign governments refusing to send aid until the rights of Afghans, particularly women and girls, are respected.
تعلیم مسله امارت په دې کې خپل موقعیت بار واضح کړی دی لومړی ورځ واضح کړی دی دا مسله لکه هغه ناتکمیلیدونکي مسایل چې د نورو ارګانو وزارتو پاتې دي دا هم د معارف او د عالي تحصیلات یوه برخه پاتې ده نیمه برخه فعاله د پوهنتونونه خلاص شپږم صنف پورې خلاص په ډېرو ولایتو کې 12 پورې خلاص دي نو دغه مسله کوم سیاسي اړخ نه لري دا به هم په مرور د وخت سره حل شي موږ غواړو چې له دې نه نړیوال او منفي فکر حل کې له دې نه سوء استفاده ونه کړي د کوم شرایطو په توګه موږ باندې وړاندې نه کړي دنیا هم که اوس هم د موږ سره د تقابل نیت لري د سیسې جوړوي د موږ امنیت تخریبوي د موږ په ملت کې فسادونه ایجادوي نو دا ډېر د تعصب وړ خبره ده خو موږ د دوی لپاره تعامل دروازې خلاصې دي نور باید د فشارونو اپشنونه او د زور او د دوکې د فریب دغه اپشنونه چې 20 کاله ناکام شول هغه باید نور پرېښودل شي او د یو ښه د تعامل په ذات باید داخل شي.
Well, that was Anas Haqqani, a senior Taliban leader, speaking to our chief correspondent, Stuart Ramsey, who joins me now live from Kabul. And Stuart, you were there, obviously, a year ago. Give us a sense of how things have deteriorated in the space of a year.
Basically, it's the economy, Mark, and the whole medical sector is completely falling apart. 95% of hospitals are expected to close quite soon. It's completely overloaded. The economy is a massive problem. And that's really what Mr. Haqqani is saying, is basically we know the West has a real problem with the education of young girls, and they're linking it to the fact that they're not giving us aid and they're not unfreezing our assets. What he is basically saying, the Young Guard will be able to change this, but we have to separate the two issues because people are going to die in huge numbers as we get to the winter because there's just not the sort of aid, the billions of dollars of aid that they were used to getting. And he's appealing for that to come. And what he's basically saying is if we can get that sorted and separated, then we will be able to bring the old guard on board in the future. I do have to say, though, Mark, that is a big jump of faith for countries like the United States and Great Britain. However, there is a consensus building amongst other governments and particularly with the NGOs that we can't just leave the people of Afghanistan to die in the winter months. They're starving already. It's only going to get worse, of course. We just can't afford to leave them be because the government's lost after 20 years and don't like the Taliban. And I think that's the big leap of faith that would have to be made. But Mr. Haqqani does make a real point. They can potentially pull the old guard through, but they has to be separated because you can take your time on the education of young women, but you can't take your time on the starvation of almost the entire country.